Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Dark Art Society podcast. I'm your host, Chet, and today I am interviewing artist Brian Viveros. Brian and I have been showing together in the LA art scene, or whatever this art scene is called. Pop surrealism, lowbrow, dark art. Nobody knows. We've been showing together for 20 years now, I think. Just in various shows. So, great guest to have on, someone I know from seeing him at all the shows and showing together in group shows and stuff like that, but we've never actually been able to hang out and talk. So, I love those kind of episodes where I finally get to know all these people I've known for 20 years. So yeah, we had a great conversation. Super cool guy, super talented, great inspiration for other artists. Really, really great interview. So that's coming up. What's going on with me is that I'm preparing for a new release, sculpture release. Should be this week on my Patreon. And I offer all my stuff first on my Patreon to my patrons. So if you want to support me there, you can go to patreon.com/ChetZar. And it's going to be super cool. I'm so excited about it. I don't know what to say about it other than it's a really cool package overall. I don't want to say anything else about it though. So if you join my Patreon, you can get in on it. Otherwise you'll have to wait. If there are any left over, then they'll go for sale publicly. Yeah. So I'm doing that, and I am preparing for my solo show coming up in a little over 4 months, October 12th at Copro Gallery. The show is called Life and Death. I'm currently designing paintings now, and got a bunch of good paintings designed. I'm just still trying to get it all together in a cohesive form, because it's I think I mentioned before, it's a little bit different than what I normally do, but still I've got elements of what I usually do. So I'm trying to kind of tie that all together and just putting the time in to design the paintings to where every painting is just super strong and good, no filler, just trying to make all the paintings really great. So I'm taking the time ahead of time to work that stuff out. So that's happening. And I guess that's it. That's all I've been up to. Let's see, if you want to support this podcast, and if you listen and you don't support through Patreon, please, if you can, please do, because we need your support. It's how I'm able to afford to do this, and it's cheap. It's only $1 a month. You can join for just $1 a month. You get the audio podcast a day early. I'm going to hopefully set up the video version to go a day early as well, through YouTube memberships, I think. So I got to revamp the tiers and everything on the Dark Art Society Patreon, because it's kind of out of date since Mike left. Anyway, you could still join it though. So that's patreon.com/Dark Art Society. And also, if you join at the $5 and above level, you get I think it's a 20% discount code for Skull Shop, which is our sponsor. SKULLSHOPPE. Here's one of their skulls. I'm using them for my show. I use, anytime I use a skull reference, I use a Skull Shop skull. They're amazing. Yeah. So that's it. I think that's it. Let me see. I did the Patreons. I did the update intro. See, I've got a little note paper now here, so I don't forget. Yeah, that's everything. All right, let's get on with it. The interview is great, and I think you're going to love it. All right, here we go with Brian Viveros. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, hello, Brian.
Hello, Mr. Chet.
Thank you so much for finally coming on the show. You've been on my list. I've got a list from years ago that I put all the artists I wanted to have on the show, and then I forgot about the list, and I just like ask people when I think of them, and it's like I keep running into you at shows, as always. And
Yeah, I'm
last time
so glad I made the list.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Of course. I mean, we've been showing together for forever.
Yeah, I don't think maybe a lot of people realize how long. I mean, this goes back to the Dollhouse show.
Oh,
The-
really?
you know what, dude?
That was like one of the first shows I was ever in. I think it might have been the first
Yeah,
show I was in. No way. Yeah, I've got one of those.
this is the only one I have. And Albert gave this to me.
Oh,
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah. I
Wow.
mean, it's a crazy roster like Mark Ryden, Joe Coleman. I mean, everyone was in this. This show is awesome.
Yeah, Liz McGrath curated that.
Yeah, so that was the first time I showed with you, or the first time I saw your artwork.
Okay, yeah, I had a sculpture in that one. That was that weird soft spot sculpture. Yeah, so we've been showing together. And you were you've been showing before that, right?
Yeah,
So you started before I did.
I go way back to 97.
Wow.
97. Yeah, my first show was with Giger, with H.R.
I know.
Giger.
What the hell? How did you get your first show with Giger? That's insane, man.
So weird, man. I was stalking him, no. No, but what happened was back in that day, there were a lot of zines out, and one of these zines was called Cenobium, and it was like a Clive Barker zine, and it was based around the Cenobite world and Hellraiser and all this like kind of dark, gothic, erotic, and I was really into that at that time. And there was an ad in there. It was Les Barony, who was Giger's agent,
Oh, yeah.
and he was looking for artists. And I reached out to him, and next thing you know, he showed some of my stuff to Giger, and Giger was curating a show, and he put me in the show.
Amazing.
I had no idea. I didn't understand like how that worked, to be in an exhibit. I didn't even think anything of it. I was just like, wow, this is awesome. What do I do? And so then I learned how to frame your work properly and do all that stuff. But at that time I wasn't even painting. It was just black and white illustration.
Oh, no way. Wow.
I didn't know how to paint. I had no idea how to paint. I didn't know how to use oils. I didn't know how to use anything that, acrylics. I was just inks, like inks and washes, and then airbrush.
Wow.
Airbrush. Yeah.
That's so cool.
But it was that real hardcore phase of like erotic Giger-esque type stuff. So if a lot of listeners might not know that my older work was pretty hardcore.
Yeah. So, well, let's get into that. I'm curious to hear your background, because one of the things you mentioned to me was that we have kind of similar childhoods, kind of, in a way, in similar influences and stuff. And, as yet another one of these artists who I've known for over 20 years, we've never sat down and talked, really. It's like we know each other from showing together and seeing each other at shows, and it's like, you're like a pal, but we've never actually talked, really, because it's always in these gallery settings. So I want to hear your backstory. I want to hear how you started with art and all of it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well,
your life story.
I think. Pull up a chair, son. Yeah. So going way back, I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with my dad. He was a bodybuilder. And he was also a surgical tech. So he was into a lot of monster stuff, surgeries, stitchings. We used to practice stitching up napkins and oranges. Like as a kid, he would bring home suture kits, medical suture kits.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's so
and
cool.
we would take oranges and stitch. He would show me how to do stitches, and then we'd use like ketchup for fake blood all over the orange. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. He brought home. Yeah, it was a crazy time. He had all these medical photos of operations, and he had brought home some eyeballs, like real eyeballs in jars.
No way! Wow, well, he sounds like a cool guy.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. He was, man. He looked like Conan too. He had long hair.
Really?
Super buff. Yeah, and in fact, this is a funny story. Is growing up, Conan the Barbarian was huge part of my life. Like my dad used to read me the the Conan paperback books as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
In elementary school, like first grade, you had to fill out these emergency cards. And up until that point, my dad told me his name was Conan. So I believed he was Conan, and on those cards you fill out, I put Conan. So they called him, and he's crazy. He's a crazy character. And
Oh,
he came down to the school, no shirt on. And he long hair, he looked mean, and he said, "I'm Conan." And it was just like the greatest, like my hero. He like lived up to everything.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so he was a huge influence on me, man. And that and wrestling, he also he would train bodybuilders and stuff. So I was around like a lot of like wrestlers and boxing. So I used to go to a lot of the matches and stuff when I was a kid. All that stuff really was a huge part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like really, I'd say the three major things was wrestling, horror, and
Conan.
like Fangoria magazine. Yeah, and Conan.
Yeah. My dad, my stepdad was a big bodybuilder guy, and he was like, he did a lot of artwork for the bodybuilder magazines and met Arnold and yeah, so that was all around when I was growing up too. And he also taught me how to lift weights early on, and it's just I started doing it. It's like it never fucking took with me. I wish it did. I wish I kept up with it because
same thing.
He did it his whole life,
Yeah, same thing. I just wanted to draw and kind of nerd out.
Yeah.
And he was always teaching me how to do things. I kind of got into the powerlifting and the boxing and stuff, but I don't want to mess with my hands.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I know. I got friends who were like trying to get me to do jujitsu, and it's like, I mean, I'm not really that interested, but I don't. The main thing, I don't want to injure myself. It's like
No. I tried skateboarding, last year, and I fell really hard. It's no fun anymore.
Yeah,
I went down. Everybody saw me fall. I went down like the boom, boom, boom. It was not good, man.
At this age, it's like you fall down, and it's like, if you get put out a month where you can't work, we'd be screwed. I'd be screwed not being able to work for a month.
Oh yeah, you go crazy in your head too. You just have to. You have to be creative.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, but even part of not only my dad, my mom was huge. I mean, I always sometimes forget that she was huge influence and supporter of me being a little odd and different. I really hated school. Like I hated it with a passion.
Oh, me too.
They put me in early because I
me too.
Yeah, and I just couldn't get it, man. I mean, I always just wanted to do other things. So
that's my story too, man.
And, she used to just let me stay home.
Wow.
And I would draw on the walls. I can remember drawing on the walls, and she just like let me. And then we would do like back then they had these big construction paper books. They were just thick, full of colors.
Yep.
They had stuff like how to make animals. Like you could pull like origami type stuff. And I can remember doing that stuff with my mom, and she just kind of let me be creative, which was super cool. And I remember her writing a lot of notes though for me to give to the school. I was absent a lot, man. I did not want to go to school,
Yeah.
That was mainly like, elementary years, but moving on, I had to go later, but elementary was tough,
Yeah. I was the same way. I just did not. It sounds like it was very similar to my childhood too, with your mother, and my mom was the same way. Totally cool with my weirdness and supportive of the art. So sounds like you had amazing parents.
Yeah, they were a huge influence on me, man.
That's great. It's so lucky. So many people don't get that. So many artists don't have that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing that I'm so grateful for is just my dad always would tell me, just don't be bored. Like do something.
Wow.
Don't
Good
be bored.
advice.
Do shit. You can't be bored. So we could never really say that around the house. Like he was always doing stuff, and we're always getting into something. I used to put on these backyard plays. I mean, with blood and kill, like, because I was so into horror, I wanted to share like these ideas.
Right.
So my mom would help me oh man, it's funny. We put together flyers and pass them out in the neighborhood. They could come watch my Conan slash Jason, Freddy, all of that
Amazing.
in the backyard.
That's amazing.
And we use food coloring for blood.
Yeah.
So there would be these little red bottles. I remember the red, like, little points on
Yep.
top. I'd be squirting the like blood all over the place.
It stains your skin.
Oh yeah, it stained my toys. All my toys were covered in blood, man. I think I was always into the blood.
Yeah.
It's always been kind of, part of my world.
It's so weird. That fascination with blood is so weird. I don't totally understand it, but it's such a powerful visual symbol, I guess. I don't know. It's like a primal thing because, as
Mhm.
cavemen or whatever, it's like we knew that when you see blood, it's not good. So it's like deep in you, this kind of, I don't know, wakes you up seeing blood. It's like a shocking thing. And
It is. It
I
is.
remember being like, I remember going through blood recipe phases when I was a kid, like finding out the best recipes.
Oh, right. With the corn syrup and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did. Yeah, me too.
arrow
I love.
syrup, and then it's like, oh, if you add some flour in, it makes it more opaque, and then if
Right,
you
right.
add peanut butter in, and it's like there's all these different versions
Uh,
of it, and then when you start adding like a little bit of green, just a touch of green, so it's not super red. It's kind of funny, but I'm surprised you never got into effects.
I came close. So
'Cause it sounds like you sound like an effects kid to me.
yeah, I was. I mean, here my idols were, like Tom Savini,
Oh wow,
Dick Smith, Lon Chaney. Like my dad loved Lon Chaney.
wow,
We were like Universal monsters were that was my thing.
yeah,
Like monsters.
so cool.
Rick Baker. I mean, I remember Rick Baker, the making of Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of like a huge game changer for me. Like
Right,
seeing that was, I mean, I watched it over, and there was nothing like that at the time. Like
right,
that video showed them making a monster. Like it was really cool when you think about that.
yeah, and a
And
bunch of awesome zombies too.
oh yeah, yeah, and Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
So weird.
totally.
But I was so into the idea. I'd always rewind the Rick Baker part.
Mm-hmm.
I was just kind of thinking when I got out of high school, what was I going to do? Or well, in junior high, I had more, ideas of, oh, I want to do makeup and special effects. But time passes and art changes, and you end up in different cliques and different things happen with your life. And
Mm-hmm.
so high school kind of changed that. Like I got more into graffiti, and
Okay.
that's where, later years it all shifted for me. Then I got it after high school. I opened up a graffiti store in Riverside, and it was the first graffiti store in the Inland Empire.
No way.
Yeah, I was on
Wow.
the everything. Yeah, and I had like Herb magazine before it was even a magazine. I knew all those guys. Like this is 93. And
Wow.
so Mr. Cartoon, all that stuff. I knew I was into all that.
Wow.
It was just shifting because I loved art so much, and that's just what I was
Yeah,
getting.
yeah.
But always in the back of my mind, I'm just this big nerd of knowledge of just like horror and like all this stuff too. It's like I have all these ideas, but after the shop got shut down by the city, it was a violent time. Like the 90s with like graffiti and tagging and stuff was a crazy time. A lot of friends were dying and things like that.
Wow.
So yeah, you couldn't do murals the way murals are accepted now.
Yeah.
They're everywhere, and it's a beautiful thing. But back then, if you tried doing murals in certain areas, it wasn't a good thing,
Wow. Were
Yeah, and
you doing that stuff?
yeah.
Wow.
I
Did you
was
ever
doing
did you ever get any crazy situations yourself?
Oh yeah, well yeah, I almost got shot at my shop. That's where it all ended.
No way.
Yeah,
How did that happen? You have to tell that story.
yeah. No, I was closing up. I was trying to push the whole art thing, and then some guy came around the corner, was closing up, and I could see he was packing a gun, and he showed it to me, and he wanted to know where I was from. If I wasn't from the city, he seemed pretty PCP'd out. He was like
Oh.
really out of his mind. I think he was probably going to try to shoot me, because they had already thrown a big rock through my window. I was really trying to push just art and that whole kind of rave scene. Remember the rave scene,
Mm-hmm.
the underground scene, that kind of stuff. But man, it was just, I just felt like, man, this is not good. This is not worth it. I'm not going to die out here on the street.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, yeah. So things kind of shifted, and I kind of went back to the roots of studying art and fine art. I've always been, into Frazetta and things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
next thing you know, I was putting together art packages, these like elaborate packages, and I was sending them out to any publication to try to get published with this kind of erotic art stuff.
Like trying to get people to do features on you or do
Yeah,
illustrations.
just to get any type of feedback.
Okay.
Yeah, because back then there was nothing. We
Yeah.
didn't have. So I would put together these really elaborate packages of copies and little press kits, like little press kits.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're a motivated dude.
Yeah.
Sounds like
Yeah.
you've always been really motivated.
Yeah, man. And that's, I mean, that kind of too, that's important, like I've always been one to kind of like manifesting. I believe like manifesting, I do that a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
And I try to get there. That to me is another like form of art, like how do you get there? That's hard. It's like you're trying to do different things, but yeah, back to the, what were we talking about?
We were talking about you sending packages out.
Oh, the packages. Yeah, okay, sorry. Back to the package. Yeah, so I was sending them out just to like any type of magazine, underground magazine, and the Cenobium was one of the ones too.
Mm-hmm.
I'd get a lot of rejection letters, like, "Oh, this is too violent. This is awful." Really, really, really brutal. Think porn magazines. I did it all.
Wow.
LC still has one of my packages because I even sent one to like Cannibal
No
Flower.
way. Wow.
He has one. But I got a letter in the mail out of nowhere from Clive Barker. He responded to one of my packages.
Wow.
This is like, 90s, right?
Right.
So he sent me a letter and he was like, I like what you're doing. This is great. Keep doing that, And I was like, what? I mean, that's unheard of. I get all these rejection letters from all these magazines, right? And I think he was doing like Hellraiser 2 at the time. Like he's awesome. It's
yeah. That happened to me with him too, right? Did you?
No.
Yeah, I was trying to get work for like, I was transitioning from makeup effects and I was trying to get into digital 3D animation and stuff. But I was doing these weird stuff that Tool ended up using for their live shows. So it's like dark, my style, creepy, weird, but it's 3D animation, like creatures and stuff. And so I didn't even think like an fine art career was possible at that point. And so I had a connection with them because I was working through the company, Alterian Studios I was working with. I'd met him and we were going to do toy designs with him, and then it fell through. So years later, when I'm trying to get into maybe doing digital effects for movies or something, I sent him a video. That's how long ago it was. And it was my demo reel, which was really like it was a dark art animated loops. It was all creepy, weird stuff. And I cold called him, and because I had his number, and he's like, yeah, I saw it and I don't have any work for you, but I think you really have like a vision and you should continue doing, you should do fine art, he told me. And it was like, one of the reasons I went into fine art was because it's like when someone like Clive Barker tells you you're doing good work and you should do fine art, you listen. So that's kind of amazing.
Oh man, you're like my lost brother or something.
I know, crazy.
That's so bizarre, man. That's awesome, Chet.
Yeah, amazing. So anyway, so he writes you back.
Yeah, he writes me back, and I'm like, just floored, you know. I still have that in my archives, the letter and everything. He wrote me twice. Actually, he had written me back again, and then I was like, wow, okay, I guess I can, I can do this now. It's kind of was the okay that
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna push the erotic smoking girls because they were still smoking even
Hmm.
back then. Um, so that's when I had I found Les Barony in that Cenobium, and I ended up sending him some of that stuff, some of that erotic stuff, and then he contacted me via fax, and he said, "Oh, Giger, like some of your pieces, these ones, we want to put them in a show he's curating in Switzerland," and that's how that kind of came to be, you know.
Yeah. Well, so where did you go from there? I mean, what was next for you?
Let's see. Okay, so that was like 97. That show happened, and then in 99, yeah, 99, I had my first show with Mary Karnowski and Copro as it was a conjoined exhibition.
No way. Wow.
This is pre Gary at Copro. This is Doug Nason.
Oh, no way. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I had put a piece in that show, and then that was kind of my first real like LA thing, like wow, this is really cool. And it was still inked work. I still hadn't tried painting yet,
Hmm.
So after 99, I start oh that after 99, yeah, around 2000, I started to teach myself how to paint.
So you're
I
all
did
self-taught? You didn't go to art school or anything?
no art school. I went to college for about a month, and then I just like I hated it, but it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
My mind is very active, so I just couldn't really handle it.
Hmm.
I just want to do what I want to do. I have
Yeah.
a lot of ideas, and
It
yeah,
sounds like
so
you're good at teaching, self-learning. So that's how I always approached everything too. I never went to school for anything I ever did. It was always just learn by doing it and reading books and stuff.
reading books, and then my dad was an artist too, so he taught me early on how to draw the anatomy. He was always drawing like the under the skin, like that was his thing, was the under the muscles.
Wow.
So early on was the piecing of the Gray's Anatomy, all the anatomy books, the old thick books,
Hmm.
stuff like that. He always had that, and of course the Pumping Iron Arnold book, the thick book,
Yep. Yep.
drawing anatomy from the posing
Yep.
and stuff like that. So that taught me a lot, really.
Yeah.
That you can draw anatomy and characters and kind of see things like that. It's easier just to flesh everything out after
Yeah.
that.
Definitely.
So. Now we had this thing. It was called Pit Fighters, and then what would happen is he would draw a pit fighter, and then I'd have to draw a pit fighter,
Oh, cool.
and we'd show each other, right? And then he'd be like, "Okay, now you got to add the weapons." So it was always trying to push, like create, like how far could you take your characters, and he would always like kill mine. You know what I mean? Like he would go beyond, like the helmets were always bigger, the shield was more massive with spikes or stuff I couldn't grasp. I was like,
Right.
it's so heavy metal, man. Like so fucking cool, man.
Amazing.
But that was like my early crash course, just to kind of let listeners know where the drawing
Hmm.
comes from.
Hmm.
Really, him and a lot of Conan comic books, the Conan magazine comic books.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
and yeah, and after the Mary Karnowski show, taught myself how to paint, and then I said, okay, I'm gonna like do this. I'm gonna just push the fine art thing. I know Doug Nason. I'm gonna try and do something. And then I remember going to Copro, and they were hiring Gary that day.
No way.
Yeah, and for those people who don't know, Gary is the owner of Copro Galleries.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. I've talked about him quite a bit. I've had him on the podcast before, actually. I've interviewed him on here.
oh yeah, no, he's awesome,
Yeah,
man.
he's great. He's great. Was he wearing like a suit? No.
Yeah.
Dressed up in a tie and a suit, all
All he had is
proper.
curly hair, always this, Garrett. And I went in there and I was looking around and I saw them, Doug was showing Gary around and he's like, so this is the room, this is the, and Gary's like, yeah, okay, cool, man. Yeah. And then I started talking to Gary and then we kind of hit it off because I was into serial killer stuff and he always liked the weird and twisted stuff. And so I remember talking to him and he was telling me about he was going to be curating a show and I was like, okay, cool. Let me know when it is or whatever. And I ended up bringing my pieces into the gallery the opening night, and I didn't understand how it worked.
Right.
I got them under my fucking arm into the show, and I said, here's my art, and he put it up. He got a nail and hammer. Remember, he put my pieces up, and this dude bought all three.
Wow.
For little, they were $200.
Wow.
And I remember the guy's like, I'll take those. So it was like the coolest thing. I was like, wow. I hit it out. Gary was so awesome. It's because not a lot of people were into like serial killer stuff.
Yeah. He's got a collection. I don't know if he still has it, but he did have a pretty amazing collection.
Yeah. He's treated me to a few pieces.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's like such a rare thing to find other collectors of serial killer stuff that I suppose when you find one that's cool, you're like, my people.
I only take it out when certain people come home. Freak out my mom too much,
Yeah, right. Wow, that's incredible. Okay, so I guess did you do show at Cannibal Flower ever, or did you just kind of bypass that?
No, I did the Cannibal Flower thing too. That was all early 2000s, I think. Yeah. I did some shows with LC. I think a lot of people probably did. I think I was juggling that and then like doing the Copro shows at the same time.
Yeah.
And those were cool. I think maybe you even did some of those too, right?
Yeah, that's where I got my start, was the Cannibal Flower shows. That's where Gary found me.
Oh, what a trip. Yeah, because LC would they would rent out like these different venues,
Yeah, it was amazing. It was so cool.
Such a cool time,
I know. I remember during those times. I remember when it was happening, because I was old enough. Because I'm like, I don't know, 7 years older than you, I guess. I think. And I remember at that time, I started pretty late because I already had my effects career and I was trying to get out. I'd already done it 15 years or something by then, and I was like trying to get out of it. And I remember when the Cannibal Flower scene and the art scene was blowing up, thinking like, okay, this is like those, when they talk about like the early days of punk rock or the hippie movement or whatever. It's like, this is it for us. I was old enough to be able to go, this is really a special time. It's totally new. It's like the beginning of something that's going to happen, something big. And it was like the early days. And I remember just like being able to appreciate how exciting it was, because I kind of was like old enough to realize it. When you're younger, you kind of probably, if for someone who was doing it maybe like they're 18 or 19, you kind of don't appreciate it as much. You know what I'm saying? But I was like in my mid 30s or 40 or something, or mid 30s, I think.
Yes, you had to been like, this shit is awesome.
It was so exciting. Every show, it was just like, and it was like also nerve wracking because it's all new and you're trying to make connections. And at least because I was like shy, so it was really, I didn't always have a friend to go to a show with, so I would just like make myself go by myself, and it was like totally nerve wracking kind of, but still totally cool. And LC and Michelle and all of them are so great. So great.
Yeah. They were awesome, man. God, it
was a good time.
Yeah, it was. I think that, and then progressing into that 2003, the Haunted Dollhouse show. Like for me, when I saw that show, that's where I was like, wow, this is all coming together.
Yeah.
Like this is a great time. There's just a lot of great energy.
Yep.
awesome.
Everyone was supportive of each other. It was like,
It was a cool vibe. There wasn't all of this internet bullshit. And, I
yeah,
mean, you had to go to the shows and I don't know, it's just a cooler time.
it
I,
was,
I have
it,
all this stuff nowadays.
yeah, yeah. Well, but also like before that, my dad, like, before he died, I was like getting him in shows and he would go to shows and stuff. So he was kind of like getting into it, but he was totally blown away at the camaraderie between all the artists, because he said in his generation, it's like they're at each other's throats. Like they're always trying to undermine each other and none of the artists would help each other.
Yeah.
Maybe because it was a smaller scene. I don't know. But, so he was like, this is crazy. It's so cool that you guys are all supportive of each other, and everybody, all the galleries kind of like even were supportive of each other. It wasn't like such a big competition thing.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah. No, it's
amazing.
true. It was really cool. I do remember seeing your sculpture piece, and seeing like Mark Ryden and Esau and just all the names, Liz, and it's just, wow, this is a cool time, really,
Yeah.
really. So
Awesome. So when was your first solo show?
after that show, I wasn't too happy with what I was doing. I started to paint. That
Oh,
was the first time I started to paint. They were pretty ugly. I mean, like they were bad, but somebody liked them.
yeah, yeah.
And
I feel that way about a lot of my old paintings. It's like we were learning and then showing. It's like we were painting, learning to teach ourselves to paint, and then we would just put it in a show. It was crazy. It's like,
yeah, but it's so cool to say, you didn't go to school. You just did it. You were part of the time. You were just
yep.
making it happen. And there's something so great about that.
Yeah. And I used to like take any show I could get in, I would just say yes to it. So it would force me to have to create new work. Like it would push me like, okay, I have to bring it. I have to at
Right.
least make something presentable that can be shown in a gallery. And it really puts that pressure on you.
Oh yeah,
You
it's
know,
pressure, man. Yeah, people know, that pressure's intense,
it's like, yeah. And it's like, I didn't even know. I didn't know composition. I didn't know
Oh no.
color temperature. I didn't know any of the shit. I was like totally flying by the seat of my pants, man.
Yeah, I didn't even know how to approach anything. It's just so like, oh, having certain panels or wood. I didn't know
Yeah,
anything.
right.
Like after that haunted dollhouse show is when I started to try to focus on where I was headed. So I was thinking along the lines of girls and kick-ass women, and then helmets, and the headgear. I was just always fixated with that, and the wrestling aspect with the tape and boxing and fighting.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just gonna put that on the girls. Like that was gonna be my thing, and
Mm-hmm.
smoking. So I was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
big
yeah. You're the only other person who
people
paints.
hated me for that,
You're the
man.
only other person who puts people smoking. My monsters were always smoking. Your girls are always
Oh,
smoking. It's like, I know, and I know that people have given you shit. I'm sure of it, because
oh my God, they were ridiculous.
people have commissioned me, and they're like, just do everything except, I like
Right?
everything except the cigarette. I'm like, it doesn't mean you advocate smoking. It's just like part of this painting,
Yeah. So yeah, early on that was my thing. I hardly do it now. I transitioned, but I mean, for years I was the smoking.
Yep.
It's like everyone knew the girls. People pissed, and the blood. I had gotten a lot of hate about the blood.
Oh,
Like
wow.
cutting themselves. Why are you into cutting, or why are these girls bleed? But it's so funny for people that know me. It's a complete opposite. I mean, they're warriors. They're the ones that are the kicking ass.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like people have no lives.
Well, it's
They
like,
just
yeah, it's like they're putting it's their own hangups. They're
you know,
projecting onto the artwork. Whereas like, I don't know, someone that gets it is going to see it and be like, oh, and get it and not think, oh, why are you doing that? That's ugly or weird or whatever. I don't know.
Go
Huh?
ahead. Go ahead.
No, I always felt like in a lot of ways that this kind of artwork was kind of like an asshole detector. Like if you automatically have this bad reaction to it, you're probably not cool.
No, exactly. I love that all of your monsters were smoking. I was
Yeah.
like, you know, and sometimes I was even like, wow, your stuff was so good. I didn't even know how to approach you at times, like in the galleries and stuff, because I'm like so blown away by
Oh,
what
thanks.
you were able to do, in a portraiture style with monsters. I mean, you're the king,
Oh,
that's awesome.
thanks.
I remember those moments, like the feelings of seeing that and being like, I don't know, this is awesome. This is underground that still like has this raw feeling.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I kept the smoking and the blood and
Yeah.
things that I grew up with, the tape fingers. Like I love tape, the ideas of just tape all over
Mm-hmm.
these
Yeah.
helmets and things like that. So it's just super cool, man. But
Yeah. And it's just like an aesthetic thing, right? It's
yeah,
just like you just like it. It doesn't have, it's like that's how it was with my stuff. It's like, there is a deeper meaning if you want it, maybe. And it's like the person viewing the art is the one that gives it the meaning. It's like,
right.
we're kind of just, I feel like we're just kind of intuiting it using our own taste, what we think looks cool. And it's probably revealing some our inner selves in some way through the artwork, but it's also for like it's vague and weird enough to where it allows people who are looking at it, it reflects themselves back at them, which is probably why some people don't like it.
Right. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I mean, I feel like we create work in the same way as well. Like it's like I don't think that much about why. I'm like, I like this. I think it's cool, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. I mean, I think like it's for me, it's all about powerful women.
Yeah.
How push that in new ways and ways that keep me excited about it. But the fans they're great. They take it and they make it theirs. They come dressed like the
I
paintings.
know that's amazing.
It's awesome. The tattoos and everything. But yeah, we just kind of we do what we do, right? It's
Yeah.
just comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like there's a certain I think there's a certain level of confidence you have to have. Uh, and I don't know why. I've always just kind of had it like I believe in my own ideas. Like I think they're I just think that if I think they're good, they're probably good or good enough to try out on a painting or a piece of
Right.
artwork. And
Right.
so because I imagine I know a lot of I think younger artists are kind of like they're kind of don't want to share that. They're insecure about sharing some weird idea on a painting, and you have to kind of believe in what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you totally do. I mean, I believe exactly in that. You have to believe in your world,
Right.
not really. I mean, I always tell people you can't really give a shit about what anyone else is doing. Like, just believe in your world,
Mm-hmm.
even though sometimes it's going to battle you in a way, like, are you sure? As long as you believe in it and push it, it's yours, and there's
Yeah.
something about that, I mean, I always think like, this is my world and I'm going to get there. I'm going to go through you, I'm
Right.
constantly, and, I don't know. It's kind of been my motto, just even as a kid. I, again, going back to my dad, it's like believe in what you're doing. Create your own world. You don't
Yeah.
need the other people's ideas or things like that. So I kind of went with the anti pinup look.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
As
great.
opposed to pinup happy or putting them in these settings. I don't know how to do background, so I would just flat color. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah. 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 I
This
like
is
that though. I
that's
like
all I can do.
I
I'm not. That's just what I do.
but I like that simplicity. I like simple compositions like that. Like my friend Gabe, Gabe Leonard. I talk about Gabe a lot. Gabe, he's a great painter. You've seen his stuff. It's like psychedelic cowboys kind of like fighting, really dynamic, big hands, and
Yeah,
you've
I
seen it. I
know.
know you've seen his stuff, but we also have that in common. And I do the same thing. Simple compositions, not super detailed backgrounds. It feels comfortable to me. I like looking at that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I like painting it that way. It just
Yeah.
naturally, the way I
Yeah.
like it.
yeah, I don't really think outside that
It's all
box.
about the character, you
All
know?
about the character. That's the story. Like
Hmm.
that's my story, you know. And it's funny because my wife's like, "When are you gonna do a background?" I'm not.
I did backgrounds for my last show.
How?
I did
So,
I did really detailed backgrounds for my last show. It was pretty cool actually. Like I took the time and like
not the much.
photoshopped everything and figured out really cool
Oh,
backgrounds like cemeteries and gravestones. I got pictures of
nice,
gravestones and then I
nice.
just painted it. It was pretty cool. But yeah, I just never have been. People always are like, you should do landscapes, do some
Yeah.
weird monstery landscapes, and it's like it just does not interest me.
No,
It's like
no.
it's all about the characters and it's all about the face to me more than
Yeah,
anything, you
it
know?
is. It is. It's that, you know, it's that less is more, you know,
Hmm.
saying, and if you can nail the face, everything else just kind of falls into place, you know,
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's important, but it's not as, if that face is dead on, that's going to tell the whole story. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. That's where all the expression, that's how we express ourselves and the attitude comes out through the face, you know?
yeah, what I always get a lot is, how come you don't do legs? You know, because I don't, I never do. It's always cut off, you know, it's this portrait
Yeah, right,
style.
right.
Like, are you going to ever do the rest of the body? I'm like, well, I mean, I've gone further. Some shows, you know, it's like, if we're gonna get like technical, I can name a few, but I mean,
Right.
so I guess I don't see it that way. My world, I
Yeah.
always see it as this, like, after the battle, like, you know, they're looking at you for that second, like, I just kicked your ass, or I just, you know what I mean? I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
hell, you know, and there's blood on my face from this fight, or
I'm having a cigarette. I'm
having yeah, it's like it's over. It's like having a cigarette, you know, that's it. You know, it's the end of the movie,
Yeah.
right? Just like roll the credits over their face, and it's classic 80s ending where, you know, it's just the
Yeah.
face. Great, man.
So
But
what was your first solo show?
oh, yeah, so that came in 2005, Switzerland.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. A
yeah,
solo show in Switzerland?
yeah, that was where it happened, man. That's when I met Giger. I met H.R. Giger in 2005.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah,
wait a minute. So you were in the group show first.
I was in the group show first.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then you had where'd you have a solo show in Switzerland?
in Zurich.
It,
Yeah, it was at the Museum of Porn in Art, Switzerland.
okay.
Yes, sorry.
I was at the Museum of Porn.
Oh, sorry about that. For those
Okay.
taking notes, you know,
Was that through
less.
Les? He got you that.
Yes, yeah, he got me that gig, and again, that's when I was trying to figure out what direction I was headed. You know, I was like, I want to present a body of work that was somewhat similar. I wanted to focus on helmets and like just these portrait women. That was the first time the Dirty Land kind of happened with the Mickey and all that shit, smoking and all that.
Hmm.
I started to put all the shit like that I grew up with on these women. That was kind of my first, you know, go at it, like boxing and all that stuff. There were still some erotic ones in there, but I felt myself shifting into that portrait. Like I was feeling really comfortable with that, and that was like the big eye opener for me was that show. Um, that kind of led me to the Dirty Land with all these characters, and then I just started building on that, and then having that opening, Giger, he didn't go outside. So he stayed home and he sent people to my show. And they came and they said, "Hey, Giger wants to meet you. He wants you to come over to his
Oh
house."
my God.
Kidding? And they're like, "Yeah, no, I'm just kidding." No, anyway, they said, "Yeah, you know, he wants you to come spend the day." I'm like, "Okay." So I was just floored. I was like, "Wow, is this really going to happen?" And then next day comes around, they pick me up at my hotel, me and my wife, and it's just this long kind of journey to get to where he's at. And I'm thinking this is not going to happen for. It just felt like I'm like, and Jenny is like, they're gonna kill us out here. So, you know, like, this is weird because the car broke down. and then we're off on the side of the road, and then it's so funny because like the Swiss are just like so chill. That happened, and they're like, Brian, do you want to go take a nap in the grass, on the side of the grass? I'm like, no, I want to get to Giger's house. I'm like,
Oh my God.
get me to fucking Giger's house. So they fixed the car, and I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. And we go pick up some alcohol, and he liked energy drinks. I got him a bunch of energy drinks and a bunch of like meats to eat. So we went there, pulled up to the house. I'd seen pictures of it. I was like, oh, this is it. This is the fucking house, man. And then sure enough, he answers the door, and I'm not really one to get starstruck, but I had this moment where I really couldn't say anything.
That's how I would have been, man. I totally would have been like that.
I like shrunk, into this shell. Like, what? Because I'd only seen it in his home in books.
Right.
At the time, you would see pictures of the table, the dining room table, his Harkonian chair, the chair and everything like that. Mm-hmm. The Joe Coleman, and then I'm going in and I'm just seeing all of this, and I'm just like, oh no, this is not happening. This is unreal, And he ended up being so cool and just very nice. Like,
that's great.
It's really nice to me and Jenny, and he gave me some prints he signed like to Brian and Jenny. Love H.R.
Wow.
Giger. Yeah, so I traded him some of my prints, and then we kind of, he critiqued my stuff, and he said, this is really cool. He was like, I like these women because they're angry, like they look pissed,
mm-hmm.
and I like the whole helmet. He's like, do that, just do that,
mm-hmm.
Okay, like that. That was like the coolest thing that he liked. He loved they were smoking too.
Wow.
He's like, they're mean. He liked the fact that there was an army of them and that they were mean,
mm-hmm.
And so I was like, that's fucking awesome hearing him say that, It just made me so happy, And then he showed me the fountain. We went outside and I saw the fountain with all the zodiac signs, he's sculpted.
Yeah.
A train. He has a train that goes through his house.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's in there, but like
I've seen it.
Oh, the train goes like through his house, and it goes into the studio.
Oh, really?
It opens, it like kicks open these doors because we went on the train, and
you went on the train.
The train. Wasn't operating, but we walked the.
Oh, okay,
path.
Okay.
He was kind of disappointed. He was trying to push it. I was like,
Giger pushing the train, pushing you guys on a train.
No, dude, I'll do it. I'll push.
Yeah, right. You get on. I'll push.
Yeah, get on, then we'll trade. Well, then I'll be.
Fucking hilarious, man.
It was, but I was just like,
must have been like a dream. Must have felt like a dream.
It really was, man. And I saw his Academy Award for Alien, covered in spiders and cobweb, like never dusted it once. Like, just I took a picture. I was
my God,
trying to take some pictures because I felt bad. I was like, fuck it, I'm never gonna probably be back here. He's not gonna invite me back to spend the day. Maybe, I don't know, but he was excited. He wanted to just hang out and drink and talk about Alien.
Wow.
Yeah. So in the backyard, we were sitting on chairs from the movie, actual like chairs from the dining room scene.
Wow.
And his floor in the house is all biomechanical. It's all like laid biomechanics.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's a trip, man. I mean, he took me through the whole place. He had put together his parents' house. It was like condos, but he joined them up.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're like this, and then he cut out human figures to go through. There was a male, a female, and a rat. There was a little rat hole. Yeah.
Wow.
So you go through those, and then it's just all this like crazy symbolism and different stuff. And he showed me a lot of the paintings that he did on acid and
really.
Yeah, super cool stuff, man.
Oh my God, yeah. What an incredible experience.
Yeah, I was floored, man. I was really floored. So I left Switzerland with just this vision of what I was going to build. Like I knew I had work to do, but I wanted to really like manifest what I wanted to do with these girls,
Mm-hmm.
how I was going to push it, and that was like a big turning point for me
Well, I
was
mean,
that.
think about it. Having you got support and encouragement from Clive Barker and H.R. Giger. Come on, man. It's like if you don't do something with your art after that, then you're just an idiot. It's
Yeah,
like anybody,
yeah,
nobody would. I mean, that's like being
just go
blessed.
carry
It's by being blessed by the like the patron saints of dark art. You know.
yourself. Yeah. So yeah, that was like wow. I was really pushed. Then I just started really concentrating on my painting and pushing the character aspect of it.
What
Uh,
and then okay, so it's I just want to get through. I can't because I want to ask you some technical stuff too. I like to talk about technical art talk and stuff too. But um, then what were your following solo shows in LA after the Switzerland show?
uh,
Did you start
that's
doing showing regularly?
yeah. I
Regularly?
started doing more Copro shows. I went back to Switzerland. I had another solo in 2006.
Oh wow,
I sold out my first show there.
incredible!
Sold out, and then I sold out again. I did it, and that's where I was really starting to bring it.
So you
I was,
start, yeah, you started strong.
I was amped up. Yeah, I remember. I was like Hulk Hogan, man. I was like ripping off the shirt and everything. I was like, let me at him. But I felt like I was onto something because people were mimicking the painting. They were even in Switzerland dressing up like the paintings.
Wow.
So
Yeah, so you were
yeah,
hitting a nerve.
I was feeling it. I was like, okay, cool. This is awesome. And yeah, and then that 2008, there was a there was a show that Gary did. I think it was like the Next Gen show or something like
Oh
that.
yeah, I was in that.
Well, yeah, that was to me. I was like, wow, everything was just like full steam then because you had done. Man, it was just like the greatest. It was I Want You. I remember seeing that.
Oh, that was from that show?
Yeah,
Oh,
that
cool.
changed my whole like. That to me was just epic.
Oh,
That stood
thanks.
out on so many levels outside of what everybody was doing. Like that was game changer. I was like, wow, this is a great time to be doing art right
Mm.
now. I felt really inspired, like even
Oh,
that piece and just everything everybody was doing. It was a great time.
it's
And
awesome.
yeah, then I kept doing more shows and then I ended up doing shows with Think Space
Mm-hmm.
and what really kind of put a stamp on it was 2010, like my first Dirty Land show, and that
Mm-hmm.
was at Think Space.
Oh, okay.
And that's where I had like full blown mannequins that were customized to be like Dirty Land girls with helmets, and I had Andrew bring in dirt, and they filled the gallery with dirt,
Oh my
like
God, that's amazing.
yeah, and I put like all the helmets in there, and it was just a cool show, man. I mean, I was blown away by that. And
Wow.
at the same time, I did it's like a solo with Dan. We did Desensitized in
Mm-hmm. I
2000.
remember that. Yeah.
So that and Dirty Land happened, and so I can't even believe I was able to do that much. Like, I don't know if that happens to you. Do you think like, wow, I had a lot of energy then? I mean, I'm
Oh,
tired.
yeah.
I'm like, how the fuck did I do
I
that?
know. I used to do two solo show. I used to do two solo shows a year, man. I used to do two for a while there, and I was like, "How the hell do you do two solo shows a year? It's insane."
No, it's just crazy. I'm like the amount of work and the pressure and
I'm exhausted. I couldn't do it now. I just couldn't.
no,
There's no
no,
way.
I'm going back. I'm retired now. I'm done. I've been around too long. No, but yeah, so I remember doing the Desensitized with Dan, and then that was, he kind of motivated me too because his stuff's so awesome.
Yeah, you guys did that really cool sculpture together, right?
Yeah, we did all
Like an
kinds of
aluminum sculpture or stainless steel or something.
else did that. That was a Desensitized 13, 2013.
Oh, okay, okay.
First one in 2010, we did collaboration paintings. It
Hmm.
was like
I'm
a bunch
sure
of
I've seen them. I just can't place
yeah,
them at the moment.
yeah, yeah. You were there. You were
Okay.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you were there. And then
I
that
ca-
it was an awesome show. We had music, and I was into like visuals and video because
That's right.
I'd done movies too
That's
at the
right. I remember that.
yeah. So Gary had like projected my film inside
Yeah, that's right.
walls. So yeah, that was 2010, and that I think for me that's kind of like from 10 and on was that was a solid era of just like pushing the Dirty Land world and then
Hmm.
doing a book. And my book came out in 2015, The Dirty Land, and that was at Think Space. And yeah, man,
The rest is history.
the rest is history.
So you show I mean you've shown consistently at Copro and at ThinkSpace. You kind of like go between both or
No, I did Copro with Dan twice, and then I was doing like solos with Think Space.
but you do a lot of group shows at Copro and stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I do the group shows. Anytime, I mean, anytime Gary wants something, man, it's he's OG, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that gosh, I just remember pulling up that day in my car with the paintings under my arm, and like it just felt so like I don't know what I'm doing.
It's because we didn't.
The fact that he didn't judge or give a fuck, you just you don't come across those moments or people like that
Hmm.
anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck it. Everything now is just so over thought out, and movies are horrible. It's just like that thing's really. I don't know. I just think it was a cooler time.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 definitely. I mean, it was
That's the old guy. I was like, the back in the day, so much cool. You kids don't know, man.
it's true though. It was very DIY. It was very punk. It was like really everyone was just doing it for the love, it was not corporate in any way, it was super just what can happen when a community of people kind of all have the sort of same ideas at the same time and just start organically forming galleries and art communities and it was awesome but and it's cool though what it's become is like we're kind of at our proper place in the scene now, it's like we're more of the elder statesmen of that generation now. We're becoming the older established guys, and the galleries are a little less seat of their pants. They're a little more, a little more professional, which is good, that's cool. And but I don't know, I feel like it's grown in this natural organic way that it should, you know what I mean? It shouldn't always stay that way to where it's like a
Right.
scrappy crazy gallery where people are bringing paintings in the same day, and it's, you know what I mean, it's a natural progression for things to get better like that and more I don't know
Evolved and
yeah clean and just nice,
yeah,
and so
yeah. Great that we were able to be a part of that.
yeah, it's yeah, so fortunate, and it's weird because the art scene is in general, the art scene is, to us it's a big thing, and I'm sure people who listen to the podcast, it's big and important, but it's kind of a small community regarding the rest of the world and mainstream culture all over
Right.
the world. We're like a tiny little thing, but I don't remember what my point was. But it's it's I don't know. It's cool to be, it's authentic and real. It's not some phony influencer driven bullshit hype thing. It's not like the art scene in LA is like real,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and it's always been that way
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
beginning.
I dig it, man. I mean, there's nothing like having an LA show. The last show I had was the last big show I had was at ThinkSpace, and it was called Mania. And I had like I had prepared for this one because I don't know if you've been to the Think Space or the bigger the new building and everything, but
I don't
it's
think I'm not sure if I've been to the new one.
so I never really painted like large scale. So I started to do like 30 by 40s and
Mm-hmm.
by 60. Like these are big paintings for the space. And I based the show Mania like off the old WrestleMania logo. So
Uh-huh.
it was like a throwback, and I really went all out for that show. It was a really epic show at Think Space. We did it for Halloween.
Oh, cool.
It was awesome. But I after that show, I just kind of I haven't done a solo in a while. I just kind of took some time,
Yeah.
taking some, yeah, yeah, focus on other things.
Yeah,
Other
yeah. I finally took a year off last year from solo show. Like I finally got Gary to give me 1 year off,
yeah.
and it was like to try and get caught up. And I got caught up on most of my things. So how did your big pieces do sales wise?
Good.
Because I just did a big ass
Yeah.
piece for Copro, the group show, and it still hasn't sold. And it was
Oh,
like I thought priced reasonably. Everybody loved the painting, but
yeah.
it didn't sell.
I,
So I'm like second guessing doing really big paintings. I got a solo show coming up in October, and I'm like, I think I should probably keep them my regular sizes. You know?
yeah. I that piece you did is freaking awesome, dude.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that to me is like, wow, that was like next level.
Oh,
When I
thanks.
like that's awesome. The colors and everything is beautiful, man. But yeah, I did larger pieces. Not a whole lot of them, but they did good. I didn't sell all of them, but I sold
Enough.
quite a few. Yeah, and I'm just comfortable with like the 16 by 20s. A big for me is 24 by 36, and
Mm-hmm.
that takes a lot of time.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know. I don't enjoy doing them. Just, I don't
I
know. I like my little pocket, and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's easier, for me.
Yeah, I mean, you should paint it whatever you feel
Mhm.
comfortable at. But it is nice seeing something big like that. Something when you see a painting in person when it's big, it's a
Uh,
trip. You know.
I tested myself. I did a huge bullfighter matador, and she was in a gold. I painted all in golds, gold jacket. It was probably one of my best paintings, and
Mm.
Gary ended up getting it, which was for his.
Wow.
He was like, "This is awesome." I was
Yeah,
like,
I know that painting. I didn't know it was huge though.
"Oh, it's huge, man! It's
Wow.
huge." Yeah. So that's pretty cool. I was pretty stoked to move that one. And I did like a really big Dirty Land one with the Mickey helmet, and it had like she had this fabric all over her body, and it said "fragile, handle with care," like those stickers,
Oh,
so
cool.
stamped all over her
Mm-hmm.
body. Really cool piece. So I went off. I really planned that show out, like how I wanted it to look and everything, and it was one of my favorite shows. That and the desensitized ones were really awesome shows, man.
So tell me about your painting technique and what do you paint on? What's your surface and what's your media? How do you set up your paintings and how do you do this?
Usually it's just wood panels. Now I use the treacle wood panels. You familiar with those? Those
Yeah. The not the
cradle.
oh the cradle, not the, is it the like the no it's no not the thin masonite
No, they're the box one. The cradle, the like
and
inch
like
and a half
right,
square.
okay, and they're wood, they're not like the compressed stuff, okay.
They're wood. So I've been using those lately, but I used to use the masonite. The
Mm-hmm.
thin one. Majority of all my paintings are on that, and
Never canvas, you never a canvas guy?
heard it now.
Ah, okay.
I know. I should try it. I
I
haven't done it.
I've always like gone back and forth, but now I'm like the aluminum. I'm strictly aluminum, except for that one at the show because it was so big that
Yeah.
canvas is so much lighter at that size. But I'm using the aluminum ACM panel. You know
Where
the
do you get from?
Well, Trikel sells them. They
Oh,
pre-cut, but they're kind of, pricey. So I found a place that I could buy it's super cheap, 8 by 4 foot sheet of it for $100.
oh, that's really
And
good.
then you can
Cut
cut
it
it.
yourself.
You cut
Yeah.
it with a box cutter. It's amazing. You just cut it, score it over and over, and you can you bend it and it just kind of pops out. And then you sand it. It's great.
Shit. And do you mount it onto something, or is it just
No, no, it's like it's strong. It's when it gets big, it gets a little wobbly, and you could cradle it if you want, or just put it in a frame, and it's fine. It's like metal. It's like street sign metal.
I am gonna try that on
It's
my
so
next.
great.
Really gonna try. I've never even tried it. I'm gonna try that. That
It's
sounds.
just yeah, it's great because I've got this is one of the Trikel ones, but it's like two
Oh,
sheets two sheets of or yeah, 2 sheets of aluminum with like this plastic substrate. That's so it's like sandwiched it's aluminum on both sides. So you just like gesso it like you would normally gesso it, and it's just super strong and archival. And the thing about it that why I think it's better than wood is because it it can't absorb any moisture and do any stretching or warping at all because it's metal. You know what I mean?
yeah. You can't beat that. No, I mean,
Yeah. And here's the other benefit is I paint in oils, and it's like I'm trying. Sometimes I'm like in a rush and I'm trying to get layers to dry quickly, and I use liquid when I paint. And you can put the aluminum in front of a heater and dry. I can dry a layer in like 30 minutes if I have to, and it doesn't warp the surface or anything.
it's a big plus right there.
I know.
I try to do things faster, man. I'm over the days of like just drawing. I mean, everything taking too long.
I know. So what's your painting technique?
So yeah, I use the wood. Usually, I just sand the wood down, and then I'll do like a light coat of gesso on
Mm-hmm.
top,
Mm-hmm.
sand that down, and then I'll transfer my drawing onto the board.
Mm-hmm.
Just start kind of airbrushing it in.
How are you transferring? Are you using a projector or tracing paper?
Projector now. I
Yeah,
used
yeah,
to use tracing paper, yeah,
yeah.
but the
Same
projector,
here.
it's like
The
any
projectors now are so good. It's like
gosh,
they're
just this time.
they're amazing. Yeah, it's safe. It's like I just saw. I'm on. Sean Cheatham,
What do I know that? Yeah, oh,
amazing painter, like
yeah.
realism portrait,
Yeah, yeah.
incredible. I just saw. I just joined his Patreon because he has a Patreon, and he was showing how he's doing this big portrait commission, and he projects it, and I was like, awesome, okay, because it's like because he can do it without projecting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He can do it from life, but he's like he has my attitude. It's like if I had to, I could do it, but it takes way longer, and I don't have the time, and
Yeah.
it's going to look the same, but the likeness is going to be better, or it's going it's going to take me 5 times less time to get the likeness right. And so it was kind of cool to see him projecting.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, there's no shame to that. I mean,
Mm-mm.
we've put in the time of drawing so many years.
Yeah, right.
It's like, God, I can remember drawing everything out. I'm like, how does everybody do this? This is gonna kill me if I have
Yeah.
to do this. You got to find out ways to do it
Yeah,
faster.
yeah. If you're a professional artist and it doesn't, the end result is the same. It's like do the thing and take less
Yeah,
time, and then you can spend more time on whatever rendering or whatever.
right. And you're the artist. This is what it's. What you do. It's your magic. You're gonna
Yeah.
whatever you're doing is your art. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Right.
You're projecting, whether you're fucking tracing, transferring, but whatever you do, man. I mean, it's your thing. It's
Totally.
all part of your world. So, yeah. So then once I get that on there, I start in. I like to start in with the airbrush to give me an idea of how the flow is going to be and like the tones. So I'll just start doing like a kind of a tight airbrush
Mm-hmm.
piece, And then after that, I'll just go over it with oils lightly, and
That's
then I start building up oils like that. I don't really have a certain, how do you say, like science to, I mean, just kind of, it's a juggling act with things for me, I think,
mm-hmm.
And then with the oils, I start layering and getting in there really tight and then doing the detailing. And then once they dry, I come back with the airbrush. And that's when I do like the highlights and go in deeper with the eyes and stuff
Oh,
like that.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
what are you painting through the airbrush?
Acrylic,
Really, over oil?
over the oil light, even though the oil's light. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Wow.
Yeah. And nothing has ever happened. I mean, people have watched me do it. It's not, just
That's a
how I work it.
that's amazing. Wow. That's truly unique.
Yeah.
Are you varnishing?
Yeah. And then I would varnish with the like a Varathane roll-on. Do you ever use that? It's like a
No.
high gloss. Yeah, it's oil based. You just roll it on. They would do like hardwood floors with it and stuff, and it's just so it's like glass.
No way. Okay, I got to
Yeah,
write that down. Varathane.
yeah, and that just is it's a monster. It just kind of seals everything.
That's crazy. Wow. Wow. Okay. Damn. So that's like a permanent part. That's like part
Yeah,
of the painting process for you.
yeah. I mean, lately the new stuff I haven't been using that. I've been kind of just doing like a matte spray. I've
Hmm.
been kind of easing up on that shine. I've been doing it for so long,
It
you
looks
know.
so nice though when you put a shiny coat over a painting.
And yeah, I mean, they do have it in a can, but I think the illegal stuff, like the more heavier toxic, it's just better. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
always the stuff that's bad for you is the best,
Yeah.
right?
In every aspect of life,
Every
usually.
aspect. Yeah,
Just
so
a rule of life.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much my method,
That's awesome. Wow. Wow. Are you using?
Sometimes like I'll do more airbrush, or sometimes I'll
Hmm.
do oils over the airbrush. So it just depends,
Right. What do you use a medium with your oil?
No, I used to use a medium, but I now it's just a little bit of just the paint thinner,
Mm.
the oh God, what is it called? Turpentine,
Yeah, yeah.
just pretty straightforward. I don't really know how to do all these other things. Like I kind of just do.
You have your way and you do it that way.
I mean, I watch all these other amazing painters do so. I'm like, wow, or they can like just cake it on and stuff like that. It's just wow, it's amazing. It just blows me away.
Yeah. But, everyone that
I think we come with my method is a little old school, like illustration, like
mhm.
kind of like how Soriyama does it too. Like he
Mhm.
comes back in with things with acrylics and things like that, or oil. He'll come in little bit areas with oils too. But yeah, it's just pretty old school. I'll mask off the character, like the whole girl.
Mhm.
That way I can just do the flat background, like get that out of the way, and then I can just
Yeah.
focus on the character.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah,
That's awesome, man.
that's it, man.
That's
That's
crazy. That's a wild technique. I love it. So, what's your? I mean, I don't know. What are your plans for the future with your world, your art, and everything? Do you have any big
um,
plans?
well, next year I'm going to be doing Australia with John Beinart.
Uh huh.
But I've known him for a long time.
Yeah.
That guy,
Beinart
he,
Surreal Collective days.
the real collected days. Yeah, he used to post a lot of my erotic stuff back in the day
Okay.
when nobody was posting that shit. He didn't care. He's just like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
So I always show with him. He's cool.
Hmm.
I think we're planning on a little bit of a larger show this time around, but hopefully I can get out there. I've never been out there.
Yeah. I haven't either. I've shown with them, but I
An
have.
hour flight just kills me.
I know, man.
Like, man, I don't know if I can handle that. It's like,
The other thing that is the shipping. It's like the most expensive place to ship to is Australia, man. It's crazy.
It is, man.
It
It
costs
is.
$100 for one of my books. I got that dystopia book. It's really thick, weighs
Yeah.
6 pounds. Costs $100 to ship it. That's the cheapest I can find. Or no, I got it down to, if I go through pirate ship, which is like you get discounts through UPS somehow. I think there's parts of Australia that'll ship for like $60, but 100 average. I think it's, I'm getting confused, but I think the average is like $100 to ship that book to Australia. It's totally crazy.
Dude, no, yeah, it is. It's just
So
ridiculous.
a big show is gonna be expensive, man.
I keep the pieces 4x6.
Yeah, right. Let him do the framing there.
And this is really small pieces, but that's the thing with John, though. He knows that, and he always says, keep the pieces like
Right.
8x10.
Right.
So it's pretty, it's not that much stress when I do shows, with him.
Yeah.
And usually when I ship out to Australia, I don't know if you use Excalibur.
No, what's Excalibur?
Oh, that's kind of if anybody wants to ship international, that's the man, right? That's the place you use, man.
Really? It's like for just big stuff or anything.
Anything.
Really? Because
Excalibur International. Yeah, I know all of them now. They've been shipping my stuff for 15 years, full shows.
wow.
They have the best prices, man. Like homie price.
Is it like a wholesaler? Like you have to set up an account? Is it just, or is it?
Just call them and talk to Larry and just say Brian said, "What's up?"
Okay, all right.
And
That's good to know.
they'll
Okay.
help you out. They'll help you out, and nothing will be held up in customs ever.
Wow. That's good to know. Thanks.
They're the best, man. I've been dealing with them for like 17 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, I never even heard of them.
Yeah.
So that's when's that show gonna be?
Oh, that's gonna be next year.
Okay, you don't have a date or a month or
October. I think they want to try to do like a Halloween thing or something like that.
yeah. We're always doing shows. My shows are always on it. My solos are always around Halloween too.
Yeah. Well, I was born on Day of the Dead, so I was born
really?
on Dia de los Muertos.
No way.
Yeah.
That's a good.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Wow. Yeah.
But other than that, I'm starting to work on other, different projects. I wrote a movie, and I ended up connecting with the producer. We're trying to work on getting my vision out there.
No way.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on with that right now, but I'm excited to do it. I've always had a love for film and making movies.
Same here. Yeah.
Or painting, really, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about what is to come. So I'm just staying focused on that, man. I've taken a break from the big solos, and I'm trying to write out this kind of new chapter. I mean, I would say just, you kind of have to let things happen, and it's sometimes things just end up happening and you have to go that way.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing solo shows since 2009, like that's a long run.
Yeah. Right.
I try to, it's like, wow, I think I need a break.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm trying to do that, and also work on a lot of like statues and figures. We're doing figures of my Dirty Lamb characters and toys and things like that.
Oh,
So,
cool. You're working with other companies do it. Like we'll do
Yeah.
that. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So I'm just getting more into other stuff like that, but takes time.
Yeah.
I'm in it for the long haul. It's not. I just don't want to feel the pressures right now of like, oh, I got to do a show. I don't. I just.
Yeah.
I'm with it, man. I mean, I'm in a pretty good place where I'm focusing on a lot of the film stuff and creative side of that, which is, it's just as much art or part of me.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get out.
Yeah. So when you're not doing shows, how are you making money? Are you doing like print releases and just merch and stuff like that? Commissions?
Not too many. I just started doing a few commissions, but for me, I try to space things out. I don't like to oversaturate. Like I really do things like structured. Like I'm a kind of a structured person in the way of like operating art as a business, you know,
Mm-hmm.
how to make money and stay afloat because it's fucking hard, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I I I set up print launches. I only do 3 print launches a year, maybe 2.
Oh, okay.
I space things out like launches of my shop. If we do like a sale, I'll do it like once a year, um, and that'll be like maybe 8 items, like 8 rare gems, rare
Mm-hmm.
print. So that's pretty much it, man. It's worked. I haven't gotten crazy with numbers and things. I just it keeps me afloat. It does really well, and then I move on to the next thing. But it's always kind of about the build up to these things, and then I can move the product once
Right.
every. So I kind of structure my life around those things because I need to get money.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I don't really, I don't do a lot, but I like it that way. I try to keep it. It's better for the fans, for me. I mean, for me, it works. Like the demand is higher, and you can't get that print again. You can't get my book again.
Right.
It's done. So
Mm-hmm.
then it's on to the next thing for me. Like with the toys, this is going to be the edition. It's going to launch, then it's gone, and
Right.
then on to the next thing. So that's kind of how I work. I always had this idea, even as a kid, of like I used to do underground comics, and I would kind of operate like my own little production, of them. And so funny,
Wow.
it was copies, and it was all like dirty comics, and really, really bad stuff, dude. Like, in fact, I was my first one of my first gigs was gonna be doing art for Rob Bottin. The guy who did the thing, the effects.
Yeah.
I met him at a studio. He had a scout looking for concept artists. And
Wow.
while I was doing underground comics, I used to do this show called Ape. It was a convention in San Jose, and one of his reps, they were like, "Oh man, Rob, we love your stuff. Can you come out and meet him?" And blah blah blah. And I was like, "Yeah, man, sure." And it wasn't a Sousa. He had a
Yeah.
studio.
Yeah.
I believe it was a Sousa. I
Yeah.
think I'm
It was.
yeah. And I didn't know anything about anything. I was like, "Wow, this is just exciting." And went down there and showed a lot of my comic stuff, monster stuff, and he was just this huge 6'7"
Yeah.
giant. I
Yeah.
don't know if you've met him, but yeah, I was just totally intimidated by him. I mean, I was so young, and he just kind of shut me down.
What do you mean?
I was like, I don't know, I'm feeling this shit, man. So I was like, oh.
He said that?
Yeah, he was kind of this big metal dude. And I was just a low guy on the totem pole, right? And
Right.
just kind of shouldered me, in a way. And I was kind of bummed out.
Yeah,
But
that's a bummer. I've heard
that
it.
stuff happens.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've heard he can be like that.
Yeah, this is way back. I almost forgot. Like that was my first, like early on, trying to do something, right?
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Do something.
I
But
mean, I guess if he was just being honest with you, what could you do? It's like
I was young. I thought it was gory as fuck. I was like, I don't know. We'll see what happens, right? But he wasn't feeling it, and it didn't really do much to me. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't really know how big he was at the time. I
oh,
didn't even know
okay.
he was a makeup artist or anything. I didn't. I mean, I was like, wait a minute. Is this the guy that did the thing or blah blah? Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
pretty intense. So, and
Wow.
I remember going in the studio and seeing these badass like sculptures. Just like
Yeah.
old school. It was like really cool stuff.
Yeah. He did the most amazing stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's like early on. Some of
Well, you
those.
ended up getting the seal of approval from Clive Barker and
Oh man,
Giger, so I mean, come on.
go tackle the man. Yeah.
That's like if you would have gotten the stamp from Botine too, I'd be like, fuck you, you're way too lucky, man. That's too much.
Well, this guy, dude,
Giger or Clive is plenty, but you got both.
they were nice, man. Man, it's good,
So
dude.
wait, the one thing we didn't just quickly before we go, where did you grow up? Where did this all happen?
Corona.
Oh, in
Corona.
Corona. Okay.
Yeah, you know that? Corona?
Yeah. I mean, I know basically where it is. I don't know that I've ever been there, but I kind of know.
Yeah, that was my hood, man. I grew up there, and then I moved to Riverside. Got
Okay.
married and moved to Riverside in '99, and then I moved out of Riverside 8 years ago. I live out here in Upland. So
Oh, you're in Upland. Okay.
yeah, yeah, that's where it all started, man. That's like my old stomping grounds, Corona.
Mm-hmm.
So crazy.
Wow.
Been through a lot. I've seen
Yeah.
a lot of different. I've gone through a lot of different phases, with the art, but always, you know, comes back, in what I'm doing now, like
Mm-hmm.
even film or everything. It's just it's still embedded in me, all that childhood stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate you coming on the show. It's been super great to finally talk. I know maybe I don't know, next time you have something big you want to promote, you can come back on again because I'm sure we could
Oh, I would.
find plenty of more things to talk about.
Oh, totally, man. This has been really fun, man. This has been super cool. You're awesome. You're a huge inspiration, man. Like
Oh,
really.
thanks. Likewise, man. I've been a fan of yours since we started showing together, So
Yeah, I'm glad I could be on the show, man. Thanks for
yeah.
having.
Oh yeah. Well, the last thing you got to do is sign off. I always say goodbye to the audience in whatever way you want. So
Oh,
whether it's goodbye or some message or whatever, it's a stupid thing I
I love
started doing and I can't let it go for some reason. So
it.
I'm forcing you to do it. So say goodbye
Okay.
to the audience.
Goodbye. Farewell, everybody. Stay dirty. Love you.
All right. Thanks everybody for listening. Don't hang up.
Off like a dirty shirt. Bye bye.
What?
I'm off like a dirty shirt. Later.
Bye everybody.